Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I am here to give you guys the full chapter summary or breakdown for the upcoming Boruto chapter 60. Now before we get on with the video, I have to warn you as always, this video will contain very detailed spoilers for the upcoming chapter of the Boruto manga, Boruto chapter 60. So if you do not want to be spoiled in any way, please leave the video. I completely understand. Maybe you can come back and watch the video after the chapter's been released, which should be about a few days from when I'm recording this video. So there's your spoiler warning. If you are still here, I'm going to assume you either do not care about spoilers or you just you've already read it yourself. So let's go ahead and get on with what was given to us courtesy of Organic Dinosaur. Guys, please go show her some support on Twitter. Ask her if you can follow her, and if she agrees, she will allow you to. So full credit goes to her. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So according to her, this is the content composition. So apparently it's 6% Sai and Shikamaru and Ibiki Intel updates, 12% Worried Sumire and Sus Amado, 20%, 26% Horsey Code Part 2 and Daemon Drama and Sus Ada, 21% Naruto's Silly Son or Brooding Kawaki, 20% Sunshine Family Dinner Feast and Hitai Ate Styling. We'll get to that. You'll know what this means in a bit. And 15% Naruto and Kawaki Pillow Talk. Now, okay, I know this one sounds a little bit weird, but I promise it does make sense. We'll get to that in a second. So let's go ahead and go over this. This is just a brief overview of what's in the actual chapter. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Excuse me, a fun bullet point list about the highlights to Boruto chapter 60, where you belong. So the color cover apparently is going to be featuring Daemon, a character that was introduced in the previous chapter. So according to Shikamaru, Code's claw marks are akin to Yondaime's Hiraishin, that's Flying Raijin, in case anyone doesn't know. Just like how the fourth Hokage and actually the second Hokage, Tobirama, because he's the one who invented the jutsu, the way that jutsu works, remember, is they place their markers and they can use Flying Raijin to travel to those markers. Apparently, no matter where they are, they can just go straight to it. So apparently Code's claw marks work in the same way. So I feel like a lot of those people who, if you follow the Boruto series and if you follow some of the Naruto YouTubers who have been talking about Boruto, you've probably seen some of them hypothesize, specifically one in particular, where it might be useful if either Naruto or Sasuke were to learn Flying Raijin because it might give them an edge in battle. Well, it seems like there might be something to that, because apparently Ko's ability works a lot like the Flying Raijin. So hey, I mean, if you theorize that, then I think you may be onto something here. They've been found around the outer wall of Konoha plus in other villages. It's possible that they're just decoys made to spread their resources thinner. Amado says, I have no intention of turning on Konoha at all times two. I don't know. Oh, okay, so this is probably the second time he has to try to confirm to people that, no, I have no intentions of turning my back on it, which I don't know. I mean, guys, it's people have been hypothesizing that Amato's been acting really, really sus as of late, and honestly, I don't blame them. I think I've even said in the previous chapter that it seems a little bit weird to me that no one is kind of suspecting Amado, because it's weird how he just happens to have all this information on the Otsutsuki. Now, I know that people probably will say, maybe he knows all this because Jigen or Ishiki told him, but then you have to ask, why would Ishiki tell him how to get rid of an Otsutsuki? I mean, that's just counterproductive. I mean, unless you're telling me that Ishiki was so overconfident that he could go, you know what, I will tell you exactly how you can kill me, but I am so goddamn strong, I am so high on my own fumes that I can tell someone how to kill me and it still won't do anything. It still won't do anything. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe. Amado is supposedly working on making a strong ally for Konoha. We'll get to this in a second. This is very, very interesting. I definitely want to talk about this. Mysterious silhouette of someone/something in a body pod fit for a cyborg. Again, we'll get to this. Sumire is still worried about all of this. Katasuke knows that Amado is working on this. Code and Daemon, Horsey around number 2. You've got no stamina. And again, we'll get to the actual details of all of this. By the way, this is going to be a long video. I'm so sorry. Bug's face gets smashed in by Daemon. Code used the opportunity to test out his claw marks on Daemon. Ada is being sus, possibly concealing one or more additional abilities from Code. Boruto has been taking 2 boba pills per day for about a week already. Kawaki is bad at lying about not liking Hinata's food, lol. Kawaki is trying to skip out on the Uzumaki family dinner for some self-reflection. Naruto has to drag emo Kawaki back home for dinner. So apparently Naruto, it hasn't changed from him. He's still trying to drag emo kids back home. He tried to do it in part 1, did it in Shippuden, and now he's doing it in Boruto. Baga Musco, you silly son of mine. Okay, belated welcome celebration for Kawaki equals cater feast by Hinata. Vase Kun is the centerpiece of the dining table, complete with flowers. Finally, some screen time for Vase Kun. I mean, we've been wondering what the hell has been going on with him. We finally get some screen time. He is there, and he is playing his part in the family dynamic. Boruto lends Kawaki his old Hitayate on one condition. Kawaki is supposed to return it whenever he becomes a real shinobi. Well, considering the flash forward, that's probably never going to happen. Does it look better on Kawaki's forehead or around his neck? Reaction panels. Naruto pill talk to assure Kawaki this is your home where you belong. Okay, so that's the bullet points. Now, if you're satisfied with this, I understand if you click off the video now, because we are about to go into very, very detailed spoilers. Okay, so there's your warning right now, because like I said, we have a lot to go over, so it might make this video a bit long. So if you want to leave right now, I completely understand, but if you're still here, thank you for sticking with me. So, oh boy, yeah, I better zoom. Let me just see if I can. Okay, so it's not jeez. Okay, let me just open up the image instead, and we'll zoom in here. Okay, there we go. Now we've got a clear picture. So Boruto manga chapter 60, where you belong, summary and impressions, cover color, Daemon. Okay, so we already know all this. These skillful idiosyncratic villains have assembled. The forecast keeps changing within those dark and ominous clouds as their ulterior motives intersect with one another's. Translator note, this cover page has text that has a surprising number of dual / triple meanings. Okay, so this is directly from Organic Dinosaur herself. The layers make it a chore to translate. I've just combined them all for ease of reading and interpretation into one sentence. The title itself is just literally just place or location, but when you read through the chapter, you'll see it used in context to mean home, where someone finally fits in, or a safe place where someone can chill and just be themselves. Side text on page 2, these menaces are creeping up on Konoha village. With each and every passing moment, those passing shadows are getting darker and darker. Okay, so scene 1, Code Hunters, pages 2 to 4. Chapter opens with Sai, Shikamaru, and Ibiki discussing their findings on the roof of the Hokage office. Shikamaru refers to Code's black-studded belt as Sumeyato. I hope I said that correctly. Shikamaru says that some sort of marking has been applied to some seemingly random locations. He surmises that it might be a result of Code's unique abilities. Shikamaru says, according to Amado, he's capable of transferring instantly from claw mark to claw mark. You could think of it like Yondaime's Hiraishin, the flying thunder god. That means he can use space-time ninjutsu. Moreover, it's possible for him to come and go from them whenever he wants to, as long as he left behind a claw mark at a location where he's visited before, and so he could use this ability to come and go between the dimension where the Jubi resides. Now, I know some people might bring up, oh wait, how is it not like Flying Raijin? Remember, Flying Raijin allows you to transfer to wherever you leave your marking. Now, that marking could be on a person or on a specific location. And unlike Code, he has to leave it on a specific location. It seems like, from what they're trying to say, is that he can leave it permanently on a location, but when it comes to a person, it can be left there permanently. At least that's what I'm getting from this. So it's a little bit different than Flying Raijin, whereas Flying Raijin users can leave their marking on an object, or they can leave it on a person, just like how Minato left one on Obito. And according to him, the mark is permanent, unless, even after someone dies, unless, just like what would happen with Obito, when he became the Jubi Jinchuriki, the mark disappeared. So, I don't know, it seems like it's similar to Flying Raijin, but it's not exactly the same. He wants to, and so he could use this ability to come and go between the dimension where the Jubi resides. Oh, okay, so see, they're saying it's not like space-time ninjutsu because space-time ninjutsu allows you to go wherever the hell you want. Just like how Sasuke, when he had the Rinnegan, he could just open portals to whatever dimension he wants, even if he's in a completely different dimension than the one we know. But with Code, he can only go there because of his because of his ability, which allows him to leave these marks, which lets him go wherever he wants to go, which is how he can visit the dimension that has the 10 tails. And Sai says, even though I haven't found any of these claw marks within the village, it's been confirmed that there's a total of 4 claw marks located around the outer wall. I'm not sure how long they've been there. So, okay, hold on, that's a little bit weird. You're telling me Code was somehow able to leave those marks there, but no one noticed, like no one sensed that there was a foreign chakra that, or does that only expand to within the village? Because you would think that just to make it a bit smarter, it would expand to a little bit outside the village, so that if anyone they don't know shows up, they'd be able to sense it. I don't know, that just, it seems a little bit weird to me, unless somehow Code managed to get someone else to place it there. I don't know if that's how his ability works, but okay. Sai continues on to say that they've already started preparations for whenever Code decides to show up. He has 3-man teams assembled in various places for constant vigilance and surveillance. Meanwhile, they'll still actively conduct their manhunt for Code. Shikamaru replies that those 4 tribes could also be a bluff. They might just be decoys to distract them. Shikamaru says, because the more personnel that we split up to devote those claw marks, the more short-handed we'll be within the village. Ibiki says, I've received numerous reports regarding the discovery of these claw marks from other villages. Okay, so makes sense that he would try, but why would he be interested in the other villages? Like, that just makes no sense, because the people he wants to get revenge on are all in Konoha. You know, he wants revenge against Naruto, Sasuke, Boruto, and Kawaki. Oh yeah, and Amado. And they're all in Konoha, so why would he be interested in the other villages? I don't know. Just unless he plans to send people there, and because the Konoha are allies, they might be asked to send some, some help, and it would spread their resources thin, which would actually be a kind of a smart strategy, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Shikamaru even says it himself, because the more personnel we split up to devote to those claw marks, the more short-handed we'll be within the village. Ibiki says, I've received numerous reports regarding the discovery of these claw marks. Oh, wait, sorry, I already went through this. Ibiki continues on to say that they haven't ascertained the identity of the person behind it. They haven't been spotted even once. Shikamaru replies that dealing with just this one remnant of Kara seems to be more problematic than he expected, despite all 5 villages banding together in an effort to locate Code. Sai states that he managed to capture some outers who had previous dealings with Kara. He tried to extract intel from them, but to no avail. All of them seemed to merely be soldiers for Kara. They didn't know anything important about Kara. Shikamaru says, so in the end, it seems as though we have no other choice but to follow up on those claw marks. We don't have any other leads. Sai adds that Code's target is ultimately Naruto, Boruto, and Sasuke anyway, and that he'll continue monitoring Amado and Kawaki. After all, Code is the one who has urgent business to attend to in Konoha. He'll appear as soon as he sees an opportunity to act on. Shikamaru grumbles about how that bastard Code should have just stayed holed up inside, together with the Tensils, instead of causing all of this. Then we pan out to see Kawaki, who was perched on top of Naruto's head on the Hokage monument. He was watching over the conversation between Sai, Shikamaru, and Ibiki. Why is he sitting like that with his knees far apart? Maybe that's comfy for a guy. Kawaki looks over and sees a shinobi watching him from a balcony and another one casually observing him. He doesn't make any remarks about them. Okay, this is very, very interesting, because I mentioned in my previous chapter review that when it comes to, or maybe it was in one of the spoiler videos, whatever, it was one of them, I mentioned how it's possible that this suspicion of Kawaki might cause Kawaki to go down the same road that Madara did. Because if you remember, Madara initially wanted to make peace with the Senju and tried to live peacefully within the village, but because so many people didn't trust him, because so many people saw him as just a guy who was probably just going to cause nothing but trouble, even though he tried to be, he tried to work with them. Madara even said to him, like, I want you to be the Hokage, but Tobirama said specifically, listen, like, that's just not going to happen. And I feel like it might be that distrust that causes Kawaki to sort of betray everyone. Even though we do see in this chapter that Naruto is trying to reassure Kawaki that, this village is his home, I just feel like it might be a case where, the people who are negative are just more vocal than the people who are positive. And look, this is just the case in real life. Sometimes, even if you have people in your life who try to tell you that, like, listen, you've got nothing to worry about. We care about you, and you do have a home here. Unfortunately, sometimes your mind will only listen to the people who are saying negative things about you, and sometimes they'll choose to ignore the people who say positive things about you. And I feel like that might be what we're seeing with Kawaki, and it could be what again causes him to eventually abandon the village and sort of lead to what we ended up seeing at the beginning of the story with Kawaki fighting Boruto, standing in the middle of the village, in the middle of the village that's been destroyed. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on that. Scene number 2, who's that? Who's that Pokemon? As scene shift back to Amado and Sumire, so we get an expansion on what happened after that conversation between him and Sumire. At the same lab where we left off from last time, Amado is casually still staring at his monitor and keyboard. Sumire says, "Could you please explain what you meant about restoring Kawaki's karma? What on earth are you intending to do to him?" And then Amado responds, "Well, it's not like I'm trying to hide it in particular, but it's just a personal matter. It's different when it comes to Kawaki the boy himself. I have no real intention to talk about it with you since you're not directly involved. But let me assure you, you've got nothing to worry about. I have no intentions of turning on Konoha at all. That's the truth." I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Sumire glances around. She still seems suspicious. Okay. This is interesting. So Sumire is suspicious of Amado, just like how the people of Konoha are kind of suspicious of Kawaki. And I wonder if that might coincide in the future. Just a little something that I noticed. Sumire glances around. She still seems suspicious. Suddenly, we see a wider view of the room. On the left side of Amado is a casket. We can see the bushy silhouette of someone or something inside. It looks very similar to the pod that housed Delta's extra bodies, except it doesn't have the triangle symbol near the face window. There's still a thin black section running down the length of the container. A thicker black section seems to wrap around the width of the pod at the bottom. Dramatic go 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 SFX intensifies. Sumire says, "What are you working on right now? What is in this container? Are you going to stay out of the way?" Kaki-kun, I get that's her. I think that's her last name. "Even though I look like this, I'm quite busy." She says, "So you're not going to answer me?" Amado takes another puff from his cigarettes. Did he even empty his ashtray from the last chapter yet? Amado says, "Didn't I just tell you I have no intentions of turning on Konoha? If anything, I'll be doing the exact opposite." She sounds confused. Amado says, "I've already spoken to Katasuke about this." I'm guessing he's in the chapter. He's probably going to point to the container. "As a matter of fact, I'll be providing the technology to the village on the condition that the village will provide me with accommodations. This one ought to become a strong ally for Konoha." She says, "An ally for Konoha." She stares into the container again. A light glares, distorting the view of the silhouette that's visible through the window of the pod. Now, okay, I want to wait to see the panel for this because I feel like if we actually get a look at it, it might give us like an idea of who exactly is in the pod. Now, the reason why I say that is because even though the manga tried to hide it, like once you took a look at Kashin Koji, I think pretty much everyone and their mothers knew who was underneath that mask. Like it wasn't really being hidden, if I'm being honest. Let's just be honest, it wasn't really being hidden. So, I don't know, I want to wait to see until we get the actual panel from the actual manga, because maybe it might give us an idea, unless Kishimoto asked Ikimoto to sort of is Ikimoto the one doing the art? Yeah, it's Ikimoto doing the art. Unless he asked him to purposefully keep the silhouette ambiguous, so as we don't have a Kashin Koji situation where, like I said, everyone and their mother pretty much predicted who that was. Like it wasn't really a secret. I mean, come on. All right, so that was the first one. Let's move on to the second one. Okay. Is this? Oh yeah, okay, it's different. Thank God, it already zoomed in for me. Okay, scene number 3, keeping up with the Kardashians, okay. Pages 9 to 19. Scene switches over to Code Ada, Bug, Daemon, and the Frosty Winter Wonderland again. Daemon is still trying to play horsey, piggyback ride on Code. Code is trying to support himself by putting his hands on his knees, but he's breaking a sweat. Code says, so how long are you going to be doing this? Are you giving up already because you're at your limit? You've got no stamina. No, it's not like that. Hey, Ada, what's this kid up to? He's too much for me to handle. She says, I'm totally enjoying this. Code, relax. I think that you two are going to get along really well. I'm going to be on good terms with him. Honestly, I'm getting worried about him. Bug is rounding the corner. He catches Daemon's eye as he tries to walk away. Daemon suddenly leaps over to him, lands on top of Bug, which slams him into the ground, straddling Bug. Daemon then headbutts Bug straight in the face. He's so intense that Bug's face goes inwards and becomes concave. Jesus. Where were you trying to sneak off to, you dumbass? Why are you being so cold to me, even though it's been a while since we last saw each other? Bug thinking to himself, damn it, this is why I hate him so much. Suddenly, 3 of Code's black-studded belts extend across the floor. However, the sections that would have laid over Daemon are missing, so like the sections that would have paved over his feet and back are gone. The ribbons did continue to go across Bug's body, and some parts in the original path are just severed near the ends. Daemon says, what? On the left side of Code's body, it seems like the missing chunks of the belts, that would have covered Daemon have gone over his own cloak instead. Code thinking to himself, sure enough, it got reflected in the blink of an eye. Based on that kid's reaction just now, does it automatically activate it regardless of Daemon's will? Okay, I gotta talk about this for a second. So, one thing that I was always worried about when it comes to Daemon and his abilities, I was worried it was going to be way too broken. And after reading this, by the way, I already read this before I started the video. After reading this, one thing that I was worried about is, is it going to be too broken? Because if you're telling me that his ability is so overpowered that it can just activate on its own without even Daemon needing to activate it himself, that just makes it incredibly broken. That means you can't sneak up on this guy. If you try to sneak up on him and let's say sever his head, the ability already activates on its own, and it'll just take off your own head. Again, that just makes him incredibly broken. And think about it, Code necessarily, if you think about it, didn't really go in with any killing intent. It's just that he tried to put a mark on him, and it just reflected back onto Code. And if it can be done without Code even needing to activate it on his own, then how can you really beat this guy? Like, again, to me, it's starting to feel like this ability is becoming too broken. And I'm just worried that, how are you really going to deal with this kid? And then Daemon responds, yo, Code, what are you up to? Code then slithers a small piece of studded black belt onto his right palm. Suddenly, Code's hand comes reaching out of the ground. At a corresponding piece near Bug, Daemon is startled. And Code apparently is explaining to... okay, so we're getting an explanation of Code's abilities twice in this chapter, which is weird. Here's what I can do. I can come and go from claw mark to claw mark whenever I feel like it, although I thought it would be faster to just show you rather than just telling you. Code then grabs onto Bug's right arm. Bug seems to have a nosebleed. Bug then slips into the black studded belt that's on the floor next to him. Code casually starts to pull Bug out of a section of his belt that's located on his cloak. Basically, I'm the only one who can come and go as I please, but it's also possible for me to drag other people into it one by one, just like this. Okay, so he can only do it one by one, not like Flying Raijin that can teleport multiple people at the same time. Daemon has an evil smirk on his face. Thanks, Code, I owe you one. There's no need to thank me. I wanted to confirm something for myself, that's all. I was just scoping out his reflection ability. That was cool. I liked it. Why does his facial expression still seem kind of evil here? Thanks, I guess. How about you tell me a bit more about how your ability works? If you want to. Daemon says, oh, so you're... And then Ada immediately interrupts. His look softens as he looks back at Ada. She's holding her right index finger up to her mouth. She's signaling him to stay quiet. And then Ada says, you shouldn't be so willing to reveal what kind of cards you've got in your hands, okay? Well, at least we know one of them's smart. Well, you don't trust me then. She says, didn't I already explain to you thoroughly? Daemon reflects attacks. That's all you need to understand, for now at least. Code says, you really aren't going to be straightforward with me at all. Don't be so offended, Code. Didn't we just meet each other? We're going to have to spend some more time together. It's too early to show you everything. Okay, now hold on a second. When she says everything, what exactly does she mean? Okay, and it'll depend on how it's drawn, because when she says everything, we all know that could have another meaning. Let's just be honest here. Code says reflection and centering on or clairvoyance. Of course, it's not like I'm saying that this is all. Excuse me, that there is to know about you guys. There still might be more to you than that. It seems like you're concealing an ability. She says, who knows? Bug is sweatier than usual. Daemon says, sorry, Code, I'm cool with it, but if she says that I can't tell you, then that's how it is. Maybe next time. Okay, so again, this is smart of Ada, because who knows? Maybe Daemon's ability does have a weakness, and that's why. And Ada knows what it is. That's why she told Daemon to not tell him everything, because she probably figured out that if Code were to know exactly the full extent of his abilities, then he might be able to discern exactly how to take him down. So, yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I think this is the next one. There we go. Let's just open this up on the next page. Okay. So, scene 4, toddlers and tiaras. Here comes emo Kawaki child. As scene changes to Kawaki in the middle of an aisle of a store. The sign says you have to be 20 years old to buy the alcohol. It's 20% off. There's some soybean, cheese, chips, and jerky snacks that are new in stock. Kawaki is looking at the onigiri. They have flavors like bonito flakes, salmon roll, and wasabi. A rando guy taps on his friend's shoulder, saying that he shouldn't be staring at Kawaki. Kawaki gives him some side eye, but doesn't say anything. Here's more of that mistrust that I was talking about. Kawaki thinks back on what Shigerai said about how normal civilians shouldn't know too much about him. There's just various rumors flying around. He also has a flashback to when Jigen was picking up his old prosthesis, about how Kawaki needed to come back to his senses since he was just being used by Konoha and he doesn't actually belong with the Uzumaki family. Scene shifts over now to Boruto at the Uzumaki residence. He's walking down the stairs with a bottle of boba pills. Boruto says, I've been taking 2 of these per day. It's been a week since I started taking them, but for better or for worse. Nothing's changed for now. I wonder if these even work. Hinata says, Boruto, has Kawaki come home yet? Boruto says, no, I haven't seen him around, but I guess he's running late. I wonder what he's up to. He always comes home before dinner. Meanwhile, Kawaki has returned to perching on top of Naruto's head at the Hokage monument. He's got some groceries from the store. He's about to start eating, but then Naruto shows up. Naruto says, an onigiri and a bottle of water. That's not going to be our dinner, right? Kachan would have already been done preparing it for us by now, so what are you doing here? By the way, when he says Kachan, I know some people might get some Hero Academia vibes, but Kachan, I think, translates to, is another way of saying mother in Japanese, so maybe he's just referring to Hinata, so just possibly clearing up some confusion. I'm tired of it. It's fine to do this every once in a while, right? Naruto says you're bad at lying because you've never left behind even a single grain of rice. Nana Daime, I've taken a liking to this place. It's out of character for me, but the view from here is the village that you're protecting, and I like watching over it from here. Well, soon you're going to be watching over it while it's crumbling to the ground. Just someone might want to give him that a bit of information. The panels then show a bird's eye view of the village. Now, I'm guessing this is probably going to be like a double page spread where we get to see Boruto and Naruto. Oh, not Boruto. Kawaki and Naruto on the Naruto's Hokage stone face, overlooking the village. So that's just what I'm guessing it's probably going to be. But somehow it seems like I don't belong anywhere in this village after all. It's only natural to think about it. Originally, this was a peaceful place without any issues. Not really. But then some foreigner who was full of issues started straying into it. Frankly, I'm just getting carried away with myself. How lame. That's what Jigen would have said. Ishiki, I mean. It doesn't really matter, but Kawaki's ramble gets cut off. Naruto has used one arm to just swing Kawaki's whole body over his right shoulder. Why does this look so heroic? That's from Organic Dinosaur. Kawaki doesn't seem happy about the sudden turn of events. Kawaki, wait a sec. Hey, what are you freaking doing? Let go of me. Seriously, it doesn't really matter. Whatever Jigen said or Ishiki, we're going home right now, you silly son of mine. Naruto proceeds to just carry off Kawaki on his shoulder like that all the way home. She says that Bakamusko stands alone in that bubble. It's literally just idiot or dumb son. But Naruto doesn't mean it like an insult. It's not well translatable one-to-one in neat English. Okay, so yeah, just because how some things are said in Japanese, if you translate it to English, it kind of sounds worse. There is one example that's kind of hilarious. If you know, you know. I won't go into too much detail about it, but if you remember, there's a certain line in Dragon Ball Super during a certain arc where when you heard it in Japanese, it didn't really sound all that bad. But if you translate it over to English, when you say it, the context of it kind of changes. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing just thinking about it. But if you know, you know. All right, let's move on over to the next one. I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, so after this, I'm immediately going to end the video because I feel like this has already gone on long enough. Hold on, let me just zoom in. There we go. So Naruto and Kawaki, I don't know why the resolution for this is a little bit, let me see if I can get a better. Okay, yeah, here we go. This one, the resolution on this is kind of bad. So here we go. This one's better. Scene 5, Master Chef Hinata Edition and Say Yes to the Head Dress, pages 28 to 35. Naruto and Kawaki finally arrive and take off their shoes. Kawaki is surprised to walk into the dining area to see a huge feast already set up. Hinata, Boruto, and Hinata, oh, I think she meant to say Himawari greets him. We're home. Himawari says, Kawaki, welcome back. Boruto says, you're late, you know, what were you up to? Hinata, welcome home. There's 2 plates of ebi fried shrimp. Okay, you could just go over it yourself. We don't need to go into that. Kawaki says, what's all this? Naruto says, it's been a long time since you first arrived at our home, since you weren't able to settle down that much. We weren't able to throw you a proper welcoming party. We pan then over to a shot of glorious centerpiece Vase-kun. There he is, finally, some screen time for Vase-kun. Surrounded by amazing food, it's like 2/3 of a page. Kawaki is speechless. Hurry up and sit down, we've been waiting for you for such a miserably long time. I'm starving. The Uzumaki family happily eats their dinner. The roast bird is demolished practically. Kawaki has the mystery dish and an ebi fry on his plate. Kawaki says, well, I went through quite a lot of trouble to fix it. It was such a shame that it was full of cracks. You should have just used the one that I bought and not have to worry about someone like me. Himori says, we're using it because we want to. That's because the flower vase became even more precious to me than it was before. I get the feeling when this is going to be animated, a lot of people are probably going to just have their hearts melt. Kawaki says, you and Boruto are so eccentric, you know. Hey, Kawaki, a while ago I thought that I'd give you something precious too, but you've got a foul mouth that pisses me off, so I won't. You've got to stop that. Kawaki says, oh, what's up with you? Doesn't matter, just show it to me anyway. Boruto says, are you serious? You need to mind your manners when you're asking someone for something, you idiot. Here. Boruto plops down his old Hitate on the table. The metal plate with the Konoha symbol has a few minor scratches on it. Okay, so it's basically his headband, if anyone doesn't know what this is. This is something that's precious to you, right? And besides, I'm not officially a shinobi anyway. Boruto says, well, you've started shinobi training, so you're barely even a shinobi. It doesn't even matter if you're officially a shinobi or not. You don't have to be one in particular if you don't want to. Sarada, Mitsuki, and I are acknowledging that you're a precious friend to us, so we wanted to do it in this form. So this is what we came up with. Kawaki says, I can't accept something like this. First off, you won't have one at all. And Boruto says, I mean, I have one from Sasuke Ochan. I guess he meant to say Big Brother Sasuke. Just like how he says, well, no. Oh, yeah, he always says Mr. Sasuke. Okay, so he's... interesting how he honors Sasuke with respect, but when it comes to Konohamaru, who's actual sensei, he doesn't treat him with any respect whatsoever. But anyway, I'll loan this one to you. Whenever you actually become a ninja, you'll be able to get one yourself, right? You can return it back to me whenever that happens. Okay, so this is interesting because we know that in the future, in that flash forward, we see Boruto putting on the headband and it has the scratch through it, basically possibly indicating that it's the same headband that Sasuke gave to Boruto and that eventually it's going to get that scar over. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen in this upcoming final battle that I already did a video on where we got sort of that preview for it before chapter 60, sort of like an advertisement for chapter 60. Kawaki says nothing. Naruto says, is that alright with you? It's a great idea from Boruto. Boruto says, you're saying way too much. Kawaki sitting with an awkward expression on his face. Boruto's kind of playfully angry. Hinata's just laughing along. Hinata says, hey Kawaki, why don't you try it on? Arms folded and not amused at all. Kawaki wears it as a forehead protector. Everyone gathers around him in disbelief. Even Vase-kun is in the reaction shot. Again, just finally some respect for Vase-kun. Like, this is what we've been wanting for years. Come on. Boruto says, it doesn't kind of suit you at all. I kind of feel bad for you. Stop feeling so sorry about it. I think it looks nice. I don't think it looks that bad. Himori says, I think so too. Boruto says, no, you have to tell him straight up. Doesn't he look so lame no matter how you see him? Kawaki responds, I'm gonna kill you, asshole. Naruto says, I mean it. It doesn't seem... it definitely doesn't seem like it's too out of place. It only feels like that at the beginning. You'll get used to it soon enough. Kawaki says, I don't think so. It feels like I'm being entrapped. Kawaki then slides it down so that the headband is now around his neck. So he's going to wear it kind of like Shikamaru. Oh no, Shikamaru wore it on his... who was it that had it around his... oh, it's going to be like Hinata. Interesting. So he's going to wear it like Hinata when she did around her... around her neck. Okay, so that's interesting. Boruto says, well, you still need to grow a bit more as a shinobi. Doesn't it look good on you though? Kawaki just stares back at them speechless. Scene 6, not 90 Day Not Fiancé Pillow Talk. From pages 36 to 41. Scene shifts to Kawaki sitting on the couch in Naruto's home office. Naruto's lounging in his day bed. Kawaki is still doing his awkward knees apart sitting posture. He's holding Boruto's headband in his hand and staring at the Konoha symbol. Naruto says, Kawaki, this is where you belong. This is what our family seems to think, at least. We're fine with you staying here forever if you want to, but if you don't think that's what you want to do, then that would probably be due to my own inadequacies at being the Hokage. In that case, I'm sorry. The manhunt for Code has been running into a lot of difficulties, but don't worry about it. I'll do something about him one way or another. Well then, okay, I guess we'll see. So there's no need for you to fret over something like that. But anyway, this is Konoha Village. It's a place to live without worries and a peace of mind, even for someone like you or even someone else for that matter. That's how everything ought to be. Otherwise, there wouldn't even be any reason for me to have become the Hokage. Meanwhile, Boruto's laying alone in bed. His right arm is outstretched with a karma visible. Boruto glances at his nightside table and then at the boba pills. He then looks back at his palm, speechless. Kawaki grips the headband more firmly, thinking to himself, Konoha Village is where I belong. Kawaki stares at his empty palm, has a flashback to Amado's last words, offering him a way to restore karma to it if he wanted another one. Thinking to himself again, I wasn't kidding, I don't need something like karma. Isn't there still something I can do in order to protect Konoha and the 7th Hokage? Kawaki still mulling over his thoughts as Naruto falls asleep. Side splash text, he's finally found a place where he belongs. That's because he wants to protect the ones who have acknowledged him. Okay, so there it is. That's the entire chapter. We don't have anything else. And okay, so what are my thoughts? Well, it's an okay chapter. I mean, it's basically a slice of life chapter. You know, we get to see where the characters are now. We don't seem to have a lot of a setup for what's about to come. And the thing that I have to note right now, because it's very, very interesting, for like the past 5 chapters, we haven't seen Sasuke at all. Like, I mean, at all. The most that we've got is just a few mentions to him by certain characters. Amado mentioned that he talked to him, and Shikamaru just mentioned him in passing, talking about how his space-time ninjutsu has been disabled because of what happened to his Rinnegan. And that's it. Like, that's pretty much all we know about him. We have no idea where the hell he is. We don't even know if he's still in the village. We don't even know if he went out. We don't even know if he's still in the village. We don't know anything about him. And I can't help but wonder if there has to be a reason for that, because I mean, look, a lot of people are probably going to wonder, like, okay, what exactly is going to happen to him now? What's he going to do? And the fact that he's being kept off screen, I can't help but feel like maybe Kishimoto probably has a reason for that. Like, maybe he has something planned for him that he doesn't want to reveal yet. And hey, who knows? Maybe he's the one who knows? Maybe he's the one in the pod. I don't know. I mean, he did say that this one should become a strong ally for Konoha. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. So, but anyway, that's just my hypothesis. Maybe that's the reason why we haven't seen him. Maybe it's because Amado has him in that pod and he's making some modifications. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the video. I'm sorry that this video was a little bit long, but like I said, we had a lot to go over. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you did, please consider clicking on the like button, sharing the video, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell for notification. Let me know in the comments, as always, what do you guys think of this chapter and what's going on with the characters, you know, with Boruto, Kawaki, and we even got a little bit of Code and Ada and Daemon. Just what did you think in general? Let me know in the comment section down below. And what do you think is going to happen moving forward. And especially, let me know, this is the one that I'm looking forward to, let me know your theories as to who you think is in the pod that he has in the room that he's working on. Again, I already gave you what my sort of just side theory about it is, but I want to know what your theories are. So I'm just gonna end this video right here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to stay safe, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.